Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 11.1 will be introducing a whole bunch of new features and content, and with the PTR now available to test, we can take a first look at how things are shaping up. We've got a new zone, a brand new customizable super fast ground mount, a bunch of new renown tracks to work through, big changes for the Mythic Plus dungeon system, a new raid with a special reputation to farm, role-based tier sets, changes to the catalyst and how we can get charges, major class reworks, as well as user interface changes and a bunch of updates to the character select screen. There is a lot coming in the next major content patch of the War Within, so let's go over the 28 new features coming in patch 11.1. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. As per usual, a new major patch will bring us a brand new zone to explore, but before we get down there, there's actually a new subzone as well. Down at the bottom right of the Ringing Deeps, we'll find an opened tunnel into Gutterville. The goblins have been busy and they've set up all sorts of machinery down here. You get the goblin vibe immediately, which will be very pervasive throughout patch 11.1, so I hope you love the janky, junky techno look. The cartels are mainly here for the black blood that we've been seeing in the lower zones of Kazalgar, and they're working on collecting it and pumping it away, which is obviously perfectly safe and won't lead to anything bad happening whatsoever. But what's really interesting is that down at the bottom of this subzone, you can see the black blood just kind of flowing off into the distance, and things don't look all too great down there. That kind of looks like the Black Empire, and we should probably do something about that. But that can wait, I'm sure. I'm sure nothing super bad will happen if we just ignore that for a patch or two, because we've got a goblin city to explore. A quick trip on the rocket drill, and you'll find yourself in the goblin trade capital of Undermine. The zone is basically just a self-contained goblin city. It's divided into districts for each cartel, with the hotel in the middle that will serve as our base of operations. From what I've played so far, I feel like this zone is going to be a love it or hate it kind of deal. It's that same janky, junky goblin theme, and with the city being the zone, you don't really have any breaks from that theme. I'm usually not a huge fan of the goblin theme, but it kind of works in this zone. It's laid out well, and we will have plenty to do. We'll have new story quests to work through in the campaign, new world quests to complete, rare monsters to kill, and there's a new world boss in a huge arena as well, which is super cool. Now with this being super far underground, you'll be glad to know you don't have to go back and forth via that rocket drill in the Ringing Deeps. There will be a teleporter set up that you can use to quickly zip back to Dornagal, and there's a teleporter pad in Dornagal to quickly get back down to Undermine as well, so it's going to be really easy going back and forth. The new zone seems to be an okay size. It's not particularly large, but it's not super tiny either. It will probably end up feeling quite small though, because we'll be zooming around in the new D.R.I.V.E mount. You unlock this mount as part of the introduction quest line, so you do get your hands on it very early, and this thing can go fast. Probably too fast to fully control, at least until you really get the hang of it. The mount has acceleration and momentum, so you'll keep moving forward even after you stop pressing W, and if you want to brake, you're going to have to press backwards. It also has a turn radius, so you can't make super sharp turns and stop on a dime like you can with normal mounts. You'll get some boost options to let you go super fast, and then you can also drift to help you smoothly turn around corners. It's a lot to get used to, and it does still feel a little janky. It also feels weird that drifting is currently set to your jump keybind, so you have to press space to jump, but you can also press space to drift, so you can't really jump on this mountain at high speed either. You are going to end up drifting instead, which means it's actually very easy to get stuck on fences and other little objects right now, because you would usually just jump over those things and now you just kind of crash into it at high speed. When you get the hang of it, it is pretty fun and you can go very fast. You'll also get to customize your drive mount, so you'll be able to collect various paint jobs and swap them around to change how your mount looks. You can change the engine to increase or decrease your top speed and acceleration rates. Changing the wheels will increase or decrease your grip while drifting, so you can fine-tune your control there. There are a few turbo boost options which trade off the boost speed with the efficiency, so you can either boost harder or boost more often, and then you can also collect passengers which provide various bonuses and buffs while you have them active. Most of these seem to be rewarded from the new renown tracks in 11.1, but I'm sure they're going to be scattered around other types of gameplay as well. You're going to have plenty of chances to tinker around with your options with this mount. There are a lot of races scattered around the zone, and they're pretty much the same deal as the dragon riding races, except you'll be on the ground. So there are timers, medals, rewards, and different variations of the courses. Learning to drift does seem to be pretty important for a few of these races, especially if you want the higher tier medals. There are also delivery missions that you can complete. You can start this up by pressing a button on your mount bar when you're in the drive mount, and you can earn various bonuses with extra rewards for completing tasks in a row. Most tasks just ask you to go to a specific location in the zone and complete a small objective, like killing some mobs, interacting with NPCs, or some other random thing that just takes a couple seconds. The rewards aren't entirely clear just yet. It seems we will be getting currencies like resonance crystals and maybe even valor stones, and there are quests to complete these tasks that reward you with reputation, so it's also going to be part of your rep grind as well. The new zone also has a new renown track to work through, but this one is going to be a little different. There's the general renown track with a bunch of rewards to unlock, but then we also have 4 individual factions to earn favor with as well, so it's going to work more like the Kahet factions. You'll choose one of the 4 cartels to work with for that week. Each cartel will offer different quests and work to earn favor, and you can choose whichever cartel you want at the start of the week. So you are going to be locked into your choice, but it's only locked for a week. After that, you can just change around however you want. As you earn more renown levels, you can unlock gearing options, new cosmetics, new gameplay options, and plenty of drive customization unlocks. There are some other activities in the new zone that you might be interested in as well, like the chat lists. Chat can be found in the hotel hub on one of the upper floors, and it will give you a task list basically. The list can include all sorts of things, most of which you'll probably be doing anyway, but if you tick these activities off of your chat list, you'll earn some extra valor stones. So this is going to offer open world content players another source of valor stones to fuel your gear upgrades, which is always nice to see. Patch 11.1 also introduces 2 new delves for us to plunder and explore, so the solo content folks have some new instance content as well. They're set up in more or less the same way. You're going to have a couple of objectives, a boss, and some sweet loot waiting for you at the end. Most, if not every other delve from Season 1 will also get some new variations that follow the goblin theme of the patch, so even if you're going back to the other delves because they're the bountiful options for the day or whatever it may be, those older delves will have a few changes that will help spice things up too. Now originally the idea seemed to be that with every new season we would see a new delve companion, but the dev team has done away with that, so we'll be dragging Brann forward into Season 2, so you shouldn't lose any progress with your companion, and he will actually have some more options. Brann will now be able to tank for you in Season 2, so he can fill any of the 3 roles, just in case you'd rather have him tank instead of heal or DPS. He'll have a bunch of new abilities, and it looks like he will be a ranged tank, which is also very cool. That's something we haven't really seen too much of. We'll also have a bunch of new goblin-themed curios to collect and upgrade, so there's even more customization options for how Brann can help you out in your delve runs. Hopefully some of these end up being interesting or powerful to shake up the best curio options that we've seen since launch. Now with delves being an endgame seasonal pillar, you can also expect a whole bunch of new rewards from the seasonal progress track, and there's a new delve mount to pick up and customize. This time we'll be tinkering around with the Delver's Gobtrotter, so I guess we can expect a new special mount from delves at the start of every season too. There's also going to be a new challenge delve for Season 2, so this is the new Zekfir delve. It has the same 2 challenge mode tiers, and if you can solo this one, you'll get a golden customization option for your new Gobtrotter mount. So there's a lot to look forward to if you're a solo content player and enjoy delves in Season 1. It's not just delve updates though, we're going to get a new dungeon called Operation Floodgate. This is just a normal dungeon, not a mega dungeon, so the tradition of a 0.1 patch introducing a mega dungeon will be broken, but that's actually fine in my opinion. Shorter dungeons can be just as good if they're done well. The dungeon is going to have 4 bosses, it seems relatively quick to run through and was pretty fun when I tested it. What's really cool about this new dungeon is that it will also be included in the new seasonal rotation for Mythic Plus, so we get a brand new dungeon and we get to play it on the higher difficulties right away. Usually we have to wait for a mega dungeon to get split up into 2 wings for Season 3, so that's another bonus for this being a normal dungeon. We actually get to play it more than just on Heroic or Mythic 0. We're going to get the other 4 War Within dungeons that we didn't see in Season 1, so that's the Cinderbrew Meadery, the Dark Flame Cleft, the Rookery, and the Priory of the Sacred Flame, and then to round out the list, the Motherlode, the Theatre of Pain, and Operation Mechagon Workshop will all be returning. Quite a lot of these dungeons have also seen significant changes already on the PTR, so I would expect them to play a bit differently when compared to their original expansions. Pushing your keys higher could also be easier in Season 2 thanks to a new achievement called Keystone Legend. If you get up to 2850 Mythic Plus rating, your keystone will never fall below level 12 for the rest of the season, even if you fail to time your key. Keys from the weekly vault will also not decay below level 12, but you can still manually adjust your key if you really want to, so you will always have a plus 12 key to push with almost no matter what, so that's a really interesting change. This achievement will also have a unique mount reward tied to it as well, the Enterprising Shredder Tank, which looks really cool. It's similar to some other Robo Spider mounts we've seen in the past, but this one has a menacing goblin face on the front with lots of sharp spiky parts, so pushing your keys will be easier and you're going to get more rewards. That's not all though, we'll also see changes to several Mythic Plus affixes, and some new affixes will come in to change things up. The Xalatath Bargain enemy buffs will all do the same thing now, 50% increased damage and 100% reduced damage taken. Oblivion has been replaced with Pulsar, which creates orbs that orbit around players that need to be soaked. Guile was buffed up to a 12% increase per key level, up from 10, but won't appear until keys above level 12, so that should make pushing your keys higher a bit easier as well. And then Voidbound has been redesigned to be a cast instead of a channel to make that easier to deal with. We'll also see a new raid, the Liberation of Undermine. This will be an 8 boss raid, which feels like a good middle ground for boss count in my opinion, not too long, not too short. There's quite a variety of bosses in here as well, and we'll be working all the way up to Gallywix, so we're finally going to be able to take that bloated goblin down a notch or two. Now, something that is rather unique about the new raid is that it will also have its own renown track and reputation to farm. We'll earn a stacking damage and healing buff at certain renown levels. It looks like we're going to get a stack of the buff at renown levels 4, 7, 10, 13, 16 and 19, so they're sprinkled quite evenly throughout the renown track. We'll also have a raid skip tied to renown, so instead of killing a specific boss multiple times, that will just be tied to renown instead. There is a raid portal to unlock, which will make getting there much easier. We'll get a puzzling Cartel chip at renown 17 and 19, which you can use to straight up buy any weapon, trinket or special item from the raid. So we're going to actually get diners in a current season, which is very cool. That means if you have a best in slot trinket or weapon that just will not drop from the raid, by the time you get towards the end of the renown track, you will be able to just buy those items from a vendor. So that has some huge potential. These items will also have their own upgrade track with 14 levels and cap out at Myth 6 of 6, which will be item level 678 in Season 2. There also don't appear to be any restrictions on actually buying these items, so you should be able to get them even if you're just doing LFR, which gives you some huge upgrades to look forward to. There are also a bunch of other bonuses and helpful additions that you can unlock throughout the Renown track too, but we'll look at it in more detail in another video. This Renown track should make working through the raid more interesting and more rewarding, so I'm really excited to see how this works in Season 2. Now, if you're curious, the current plan seems to be 1 renown level per week. That will be the maximum you can earn. You can get reputation from killing bosses and mini-bosses throughout the raid, and there will be 5,000 reputation available if you kill everything in a week. But you can only actually earn 2,500 per week for that 1 renown level. So this means that you can cap out your renown gains without full clearing the raid, which is a good thing really. That means you will not get left behind if you start struggling on some of the later bosses, and with this renown track actively helping you to progress through the raid, it doesn't make much sense to make it harder for the folks who need it most. There will also be a catch up right from the get-go, so if you fall behind the current renown level for any given week, you'll earn extra reputation to help you catch up. 1 renown level per week does seem quite slow though. That means to fully unlock everything, you're looking at 19 to 20 weeks of renown farming or raid clearing, which puts us very late in the season, so you won't actually get to benefit from the bonuses towards the end of this renown track for the vast majority of your time in this season. You also won't get those cartel chips until very late as well. I think they could probably double the pace and it would feel much better, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how things play out. Now, as with every new season, we'll also get some brand new tier sets for every class, with new tier set bonuses to change up how your character plays, but the dev team are doing things a bit differently this time. Instead of every specialization having a unique 2-set and 4-set bonus, the set bonuses will all interact with similar buffs. So all of the tanks have the same kind of 2-set bonus, all of the healers will have the same effects, and the DPS will share between their respective roles as well. For example, all ranged DPS have the jackpot buff, and all healers are working with the insurance buff. There are some differences between specs, but the general theme is similar throughout. I kinda like this approach, half seasonal or tier set focused and half being class and spec focused, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how things pan out when we get our hands on these tier set bonuses in Season 2. While we're on the topic of tier set gear, there are some changes to how the catalyst and charges are going to work. In previous seasons, completing the seasonal mastery milestone achievements would reward you with a token that you could then trade in for a piece of tier set gear of your choice. In patch 11.1, those achievements will instead reward you with a catalyst charge, which is an interesting exchange. On one hand, giving you a charge gives you a lot more freedom for how to use it, but it would also require you to get your hands on a piece of gear to then actually use the catalyst. So there's a bit more legwork on your part now, which makes it a little more annoying if you're looking to secure your 4-set bonus in the first week of the season, especially with a higher piece of item level gear, but that's an important change I figured you'd want to know about. And then we're also going to get a new arena map for all the PvPers out there, the Cage of Carnage, so you can face off in a cool Goblin Colosseum style arena. Patch 11.1 will also be introducing a whole bunch of class changes and updates, including some significant reworks of certain specializations. Druids are going to see a lot of general changes and updates to their class talent tree. Evokers have some interesting notes, including augmentation no longer buffing tanks or healers, which will definitely shake things up quite a bit. Hunters have some huge changes, including a complete rework of marksmanship, and the pack leader hero talent tree has basically been entirely redone as well. Discipline and Holy Priest will see a lot of changes as well, so playing those healer specs will feel quite different in 11.1, and then every other class will see significant balance tuning changes as well. We'll cover the specifics of these class changes in another video, because there is a lot to go over, so stay tuned for that. And then we're also going to see some interesting new user interface changes and options, like this new event viewer on the world map. It doesn't seem to be fully functional yet, but the idea is cool. It's going to show you all of the various events that are either active and available, like the weekly content in Kaz Algar, as well as any events that start at specific times. You can see how long each event will last, when the next event of its type will pop up, and when those switchovers occur. I imagine we'll see things like the theatre troupe added in here as well, so you can quickly see how long it will be until the next event starts up. With so many different events and weekly activities to keep track of now, this events tab is sure to come in handy as the expansion unfolds. We'll also see some huge changes to the character select screen. To start with, you'll be able to collect new backgrounds and choose which one you want to see all of your characters in. There's a new menu up at the top called Campsites. Here you can choose between the different backgrounds that you've already unlocked, or set it to be a random option from your favorites, so you could log into a different screen each time, which is kinda cool. We also have a new in-game menu where we can see even more available options for us to pick up in the new patch. The Campsites tab of your collection window will show you every campsite background that you can unlock, and if you hover over them, it will show you what you would need to do to obtain each one. Most of them seem tied to achievements. There's currently one for delves, and the other two are tied to large meta achievements. So this will be one more way for you to show off your achievements and collections in-game. I think adding in these backgrounds is a really cool addition, and I hope they introduce some unique options with each new patch or expansion. In addition to new backgrounds, we can also set up whole new camps. You can click the plus button at the top right to create a new set of 4 characters sat around your chosen campsite. You can then name these camps or collections of characters whatever you want, so if you want to set up one for Alliance favorites and one for Horde favorites, you can do that. If you have 4 hunters, for no particular reason at all, and want them all gathered around together, go for it. You can even choose a campsite background for each of your camps individually, so you can set up your characters however you want. I kinda hope we get some larger campsite options, like maybe 8 characters or a full set of 13 for one of each class. Some variety there could be interesting, with unique backgrounds to accommodate more characters. Being able to set poses or animations for characters would also be really cool, and there's so much potential with the character select screen, so I'm glad they're expanding upon it in patch 11.1. But that's all of the new features coming in patch 11.1 and how they're shaping up so far, so that's it for this video. What do you think of the new content from what you've seen in this video, and what are you most looking forward to in the new patch? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.